And there we are. Welcome in, guys, to a midweek show, TigerBait Live. Of course, brought to you each and every week by Pride Roofing. We couldn't do it without Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez over at Pride Roofing. I'm going to talk a little bit more about them later in the show. We've had a busy 2 weeks at TigerBait.com. We've had great weather for all of our, our access to LSU football practices. LSU football practices have been very positive. Got a little tidbits from some of the recent practices beyond what we get when we're inside. We can talk about that on the show tonight. Matt McMahon gets a couple of commitments into his 2022-23 roster. Let's see how he builds that thing. LSU baseball, of course, wins a series at Florida. I tell you, I don't know what the LSU fan base would have done had they not won a game in Florida. A lot of people thought they might have went to Gainesville and got swept last week. To win 2 out of 3 was a big shot in the arm. Then another win last night. I think it's kept a lot of LSU fans who were ready to jump ship after the first SEC series weekend and then another loss to Tech last week. I think it's kept them plugged in for now. And I think Jay Johnson might be starting to piece some things together moving forward. So we've got all that to talk about. Recruiting, I think Saturday is going to be a big day for recruits. Of course, we get all access to the entire practice on Saturday. We only get to report on the periods that we saw. And we'll get Coach Kelly and I believe players afterwards. And families of players will also be at Saturday's practice. So I think that's also why you can expect to see a big group of recruits there. And then how about Tyrann Mathieu today? I'm sure many of you have seen his talk to the LSU football team, the 4 minutes they put out there. I would love to see the full version of that. I'm sure it was, they edited it down and put the good stuff. But I'd like to see the whole thing. I wish they'd consider putting the whole thing out. I thought it was fantastic what he did today. He's been making the rounds. He's done several shows. I think Jacques Doucet is going to have him for a big, long Jacques talk that's going to probably air tomorrow, or I'm pretty sure Jacques going to have it out tomorrow. I know Tyrann spent the afternoon over at WAFB, so be on the lookout for that, and we'll post that on TigerBait. But going solo tonight, Budman staying in. I'm going to hold down the fort tonight and get to as many of your questions and comments as we can. And again, thanks to Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, Pride Roofing for sponsoring the show each and every week. And also want to thank Bart Smokey with the Smokey Investment Team for sponsoring our post-practice reports. The views that we're getting on those, a lot of you have been watching those, Buddy and myself, after practice each day. The feedback we've gotten on those, I think they're running about 8 to 9, 10 minutes, has been fantastic. So check those out on our channel if you haven't seen those yet. And, of course, we always want to have you as a subscriber to TigerBait.com. If you're enjoying the show tonight, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Please share the show to your social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And if you're watching us on YouTube, which I think is your best experience, be sure to hit the notification bell along with subscribing. You'll get notified every time that we go live. So let me dive into some of your comments here, guys. Don Wheat, good evening, everyone. Reed Wilson, Don, good evening. Mo Funky Dan, you enjoyed your segment with Buddy on radio today. Big thank you for that. I got Buddy's link. A lot of people find it hard to find Buddy, but I've got his link on Pushpin on the top of the Tiger Den message board on TigerBait.com. If you still can't find it, at me on Twitter, and I'll send you that link. It's pretty lengthy. It's not very user friendly, but I'll get it out to you. People don't realize Buddy goes live every day from 1 to 3. He's got Ben McDonald, Todd Walker. He has fantastic guests every day, and a lot of people doesn't know that he's out there. So if you guys need the link, reach out to me and I'll make sure you get it. Let's see. Chance Babin think LSU offer Cup, the tight end from A&M. I'm sure they're taking a very hard look. I have not heard anything yet, but they are combing the countryside for tight ends. Of course, got a big one commitment last Thursday. And they're going for more. You've got multiple remaining spots for this class that they can bring in. I know they're looking at the portal. I know Coach Denbrock told me when I interviewed him in the breakout sessions 3 or 4 weeks ago that he'd like as many tight ends as he can get. Tasha Tiger, always a favorite. I appreciate you, Mike. Great stuff. Go Tigers. And Ryan Thibodeau, we need the 41. We need the 411. Skipper Tally, hey, everyone. Glad to have you with us. And as always, one of our best, Kenny Russell. Mike, who do you think are the starters of the wide receiver group? I tell you, I've had some notes and just looking at the practices. I think, look, someone asked me who's going to be, Butte's your clear number one. Who's the next number one? And I kind of blurted out Brian Thomas today. I think it was on Holtberg's show in Lafayette. Malik Neighbors is going to have something to say about that. But I like the way Brian Thomas looks right now. I think Chris Hilton's poised to have a breakout. Of course, we know what Jack Besh can do, but what's Jack Besh going to do now that he's not trying to be utilized in a fashion that isn't conducive to his size and his skill set? I think he's going to be off the charts. Kyron Lacey, of course, has a lot of experience and speed. Came over from the portal. Landon Ibieta, is he somebody that can give you something? So I think those are some of the guys. But, and then, of course, Jeray Jenkins. So Butte is your number one, but who is your clear number two? Is it Neighbors? Is it Brian Thomas? And I think there's there's a whole lot of number threes. So I think LSU's wide receiver group is going to be very solid if they can avoid the injury bug. And the sooner they can get Keyshawn Butte back, the better. Kenny Haynes, where's Buddy? I've got a bone to pick with him. He'll be back next week. Tasha with another hey, y'all. Chris English. Let's go. Yes, we are. All right, guys. Tasha Tiger. So proud of the honey badger. Awesome tiger. I tell you what, guys, before I went live tonight, I reached out to Tyrann. And, one of my notables in my career is the fact that when he was a senior in high school, I rated him as the number one player in the state of Louisiana when nobody else even had him in the top 10 in Louisiana. I'll never forget driving to Lake Charles after LSU played Georgia on a Saturday, an early kickoff. As soon as that game was over, I bolted to Lake Charles when I was living in Lafayette and saw him. I think it was LaGrange. Maybe it was Washington Marion. I asked Tyrann if he remembered. I have to go back. I think I still have the tape. And when I saw him play that day, it was over. He was clearly the number one. He did everything that day for St. Aug. And but I did ask him tonight after seeing some interviews and things that he said, and what he said today. It's no doubt he's angling to be a coach once his NFL career is over with. And of course, one of the things that you're going to need to be a coach in a lot of places is a college degree. And I asked him, are you planning to go back to getting your degree? How many hours do you need? And he said, I'm working on that right now. And so the guy is just, he's a treasure to LSU. And I always say, regardless of what happened in 2012 with him, I've seen LSU fans turn on LSU players who don't do the right things. And the fallout on Tyrann Mathieu when that all went down was as minimal as I ever saw. And LSU fans have always embraced him. And that's why he's embraced LSU back. He's donated money. He built the Players Lounge. And there's no bigger ambassador for LSU football than him. And, like I told somebody on Twitter today, I think modern era of LSU football, the two most beloved football players are Joe Burrow 1 and Tyrann Mathieu 2. And before Joe Burrow, it was Tyrann Mathieu number 1. And, of course, he's a quarterback. So he did what he did. But Tyrann Mathieu is forever going to be an LSU guy. And that 4 minutes that the LSU put out today on him talking to the team, it gave me goosebumps. And I think it did a lot of LSU people that I talked to today. All right, guys, let me scroll back on that. But that's a little tidbit. That's the fact that he's now looking to see And I don't know what his transcript looks like and what the new catalog, and you know how that goes. If anybody ever sat out a year or two of college, you know when you go back, you got to start all over again with the new catalog, depending on what your degree is. And you know, hopefully he can, you know, start working on that. A class here or there. Then when his NFL's career is over, you know, really buckle down and get it knocked out in a hurry. And then maybe while he's doing that, he's a GA at the same time at LSU. You know, there's a lot of ways to get that done. James Phillips with a very good question. What is the status of the transfer offensive lineman from Vanderbilt? I think we're going to know something here in the next 24 to 48 hours. I think by the end of the week, could be tomorrow. A lot of people think Alabama. I think going into the Alabama visit, LSU was the front runner. I believe that. But, you know, he was going to Alabama. And so we're going to see how this plays out. I think if he chooses LSU, it's going to be one because of the new regime, Brad Davis, Brian Kelly, and probably a much easier opportunity for playing time and being a guy on this new LSU offensive line, which I've been maintaining even without him. I think this offensive line is going to come together a lot quicker than people think. I think they got some pieces there. I'm looking yesterday. I went back and watched the film. By the way, our video package yesterday was the biggest video package we've ever posted on TigerBait. It was, when I uploaded it was like 9 gigs. Crazy. And look, you guys know I pride myself on the video we do. If you relay our video to your 4K TV, it's going to look like broadcast quality. I'm looking at some of the footage between that one and some other pieces I had earlier. Fitzgerald's starting to look, I'm not saying he's going to be a guy, but I think he could be a guy in a year or two. And so, but you still have questions at center. But overall, I think the offensive line group they've got a lot of pieces there, and Tyler Steen would be the cherry on top. So we're going to see how this plays out going forward. Yeah, Mark Humby, Jack Besh will be everywhere. And also adds that Cup stays injured all the time. No way. Thoughts on the secondary? I have some concerns there, Chris. Some of the guys that are moving around, I know a lot of us are looking about, is Sage Ryan going to be a guy? Does he have the length? Does he have the hips that they need? I know maybe it might be a knock on his height. But, between Fouché, Brooks, Langlois, is there enough pieces there? And is there enough elite pieces there? I like Bernard Converse. I thought he really looked good in the pieces that I focused on him the last couple of practices. He very much looks the part. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was all Big 12 conference. But what is the depth looking like there? We're going to see how that plays out. But look, man, you got to get Burns healthy. Jay Ward, of course, I like. But that group is certainly going to get tested, and until we see it, to me, that's the position of worry. I think the defensive line, they've got enough pieces there. I think linebackers, there's enough pieces there. When you play in the SEC, a lot of it really comes down to, do you have more difference makers than the other team? And you're used to seeing difference makers in LSU secondary, both corners, safeties. And is there any difference makers at those two spots for LSU? Or is there only one when you're used to seeing 2, 3, or all of them, 4 or 5 of them? So that to me, that's going to be your big question. Fred Wright, is Holstein a possibility for LSU? I don't think so. A lot of that's the stuff that I think goes back when the Holsteins lived in Lafayette, Walker Howard being there. He's now decommitted from Texas A&M, been Alabama several times. I think Eli is a very, very good quarterback. I think, look, you can get into some debate, and I think a lot of people hedge their bets because he's a Manning. And, you can sit there and say, and it's what I'm looking at. Holstein's got better velocity than Arch. He can run faster. I don't like how Arch is a sitting duck and can't avoid a pass rush. I mean, we saw multiple times last season when Newman played good teams where he just couldn't get out of the way. And so he has a great touch on his long ball. But I don't know, man. I like Holstein. But look, I think why people hedge their bets because there's a lot of people that didn't think as highly of his uncle, and just thought Peyton was the guy, and the little brother wasn't going to be as good, and didn't have as strong of an arm, and I think that's why. And no doubt the pedigree, the ability to look at offenses, and all that's there, but I think Holstein is the best quarterback in the state of Louisiana, and but I know some people that would take Arch over him, so we'll see. And then you got Ricky Collins. I want to see how he progresses, but he seems pretty set on his Purdue commitment. Mike Smith, Mike, great show. LSU defensive line will be straight up nasty. Man, there's a lot of 4 stars there, a lot of high 4 stars, a couple of 5 stars. There's some guys there. And so with all that said, can they be a nasty unit? I like what Coach Kane's doing. I like his approach. Let's see how they put it together. Mo Funky Daniel, how does Hilton looking, Mike? I thought Chris Hilton, I think I've told the story now several times. Of course, we've been out at practice 3 times. After last week's practice, we were out there late, and I see him coming out to the parking lot with a to-go box. And, man, he looks – not only does he look good, and it looks like he's added a good bit of muscle to his frame, but, in street clothes and shorts, I mean, he is just – man, the guy looks the part, man. And Brian Kelly, of course, singled him out day 1. And so with his speed and his athleticism, the sky's the limit for Chris Hilton, and hopefully this is the breakout year. Thomas had probably the more college-ready body, and that's what we thought going into it, and sure enough, he did. Who has the strongest arm of the quarterbacks? Based on what I've seen, I think it's Walker. But, man, I thought after day 1, I thought the 2 oldest quarterbacks looked the worst. I thought the quarterbacks that looked the best were Walker and Garrett. But then, we're seeing a snapshot of 15 to 20 minutes. Who fades once we walk out the door? Who 45 minutes later isn't being as accurate or not? That's the question. So I might have a whole different thought process and view of things on Saturday when we get to see the whole practice. And, I was joking around yesterday with someone in sports information. I said, we've seen coach after coach come to LSU and say, they don't want media in practice. Because I know Les Miles, when he was at Oklahoma State, allowed the media to attend all their practices. Now, they couldn't report on, and that's what Coach Kelly's going to do. But even though we can't report on things, when we come and do shows like that, like this, we're able to give our opinions on who do we think's better, or, and that doesn't mean that it's going to be accurate, or, you can have some guys in the media who are crap for evaluating talent, or evaluating what they're seeing. But the more you get to see, the more likelihood you've got a pretty good idea of how things are shaping out. When we're out there for 20 minutes, it's one thing, but when you're seeing a lot of situational work and stuff like that, and we're going to have, I think we're going to have a lot more brighter picture of what things are looking at. Guys, I want to talk about our sponsor, Pride Roofing. Of course, we do this show each and every week, and they're a big part of our success here at TigerBait.com. So let's go ahead and hear from Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Alex.
Were you affected by Hurricane Ida?
Insurance claim, no problem.
Are you concerned about the shortage of building materials?
We have what you need.
We're licensed residential and commercial contractors.
In Louisiana and Mississippi.
We install shingles, metal, and commercial roofing. From Baton Rouge to Slidell or Houma up to the North Shore.
We got you covered. Call Pride, 855-PRIDE-16.
Pride Roofing, the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
And there they are, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Had two guys last week jump on the promo. They're going to continue to run that promo in infinity. If you're curious about your roof, if you've got an older roof, you're unsure about how much life you have left in it, give them a call for a free roof inspection. You tell them you heard about them on TigerBait.com, and they're gonna give you free TigerBait Premium for a year. They're paying the bill for that. 855-PRIDE-16. No one better in South Louisiana. A yard full of materials. They make and manufacture a lot of the components to their roofs. Nothing chintzy or corner cutting in what they do at Pride Roofing. Of course, right there in Albany, Louisiana. Go in and swing in and see their shop on Florida Boulevard right there in Albany. And, of course, Mike Faraday is a Broadmoor High grad, an LSU grad, and known him and his whole family my entire life. And there's no better people on earth than them. And his partner, Alex, he couldn't have picked a better partner. I'm telling you, this is a major success story. Pride Roofing, they're growing by leaps and bounds. Check them out. If you need anything commercial, residential, any type of roof. It's not just, shingles and the normal. They do everything. You need a metal roof, whatever you need, they've got you covered, and they're licensed and insured and the whole works. Give Pride Roofing a call. Kenny Futch, Chris Hilton reminds me of Dwayne Bowe. What was Dwayne Bowe's weight? I tell you what, Chris Hilton might get there. Let's see. How long till LSU fans jump ship? Jordan Covington asks. Are we talking about football, baseball? Kenny Russell, Mike, why did they wait so long to offer Zaylen Hurd? I've seen he's one of the best offensive prospects in the state. Kenny, I was looking at it today, and of course, Hurd from Neville, big kid. We've said on this show, the class of 23 in Louisiana, where are the linemen? Who are the guys that they're going to pinpoint? Are there some sleepers that we haven't been talking about? And we saw Hurd start to get offers from Ole Miss, Mississippi State, USC, TCU, and many others. And started seeing that Coach Davis was taking a long look. Offer came today, big time. And like Will Campbell said in his tweet, he told him, we're going to play together at the next level. So let's see how that one plays out. But Neville, of course, had a very salty offensive lineman, and it wasn't just Will Campbell. So that's very much a positive, and Will's going to be recruiting the hell out of him. Blaine Smith, give me your top Louisiana recruits LSU's in good shape with to sign. That's a good question, Blaine. I'm looking at some of I saw the other day Caleb Jackson, Liberty running back, put out his top 10. And I think he's legitimately going to visit a lot of schools. Oregon's in there. They've been making a push. I really think, as far as with him, I think it really comes down to A&M and LSU. T-Rob, of course, formerly at LSU, has been making a big push for him. I think Shelton Sampson's going to take a lot of visits. Jaden Osbury, is he going to do like his brother and go out of state? I think, there's some talk there that he might want to chart his own path and not go to LSU. I think that's going to make a lot of people upset if that happens. But just going down the line, I'm not seeing any movement on Louisiana quarterbacks. I want to see when Trey Holly comes to town. I want to see some more activity with Trey coming to one of these spring practices or spring game. Of course, that's not a short haul from Farmerville, Louisiana, but hopefully he gets down. I want to see Caleb there. I think we're going to start to see a lot of these guys start to filter into practice in the coming weeks. I mentioned Shelton Sampson earlier. I think he's going to go a bit of a ways. The problem with this, with all this is, and we've been talking about it, if a guy commits now, what does it mean if all the NIL craziness kicks into a high gear and schools with really big needs at positions start twisting the arms of business owners in whatever city that their college is in, saying, "Man, I really need that kid in Baton Rouge. Can you make it happen with an NIL deal?" And maybe the kid's been committed to LSU for 3 months, and then the whole thing gets unraveled by a crazy NIL deal that just blows everything up. And we don't know how this process is going to play out, but I think that's part of the reason why you're sitting here right now with only 2 commitments for the class of 2023, because the NIL situation has really blown everything to smithereens. Yeah, Jordan is a troll. Okay. Well, then Jordan is gone. Let's see. Mark J., who do you think will claim the right tackle spot this season? I'll tell you what, give me some time. I want to see them on Saturday. I want to see how they rotate them. I think I did a pretty good job at yesterday's practice of zooming in on the offensive lineman. The offensive lineman, unfortunately, if I showed you the chart of where the media get to go to practice, we're at a minimum of 60 or 70 yards away from the offensive lineman the entire practice. And so even if and then the type of drills they're doing for the most part don't tell you a whole lot of the story. I think Saturday we're going to have a much clearer picture. And then because what are the battles there? Are there some guys that you're thinking that are destined the right tackle, but because of the way they're wanting to put the best 5 up front, someone's going to be there because they want someone else at guard. Okay, we got a lot of stuff in here. Dane Bergeron. Hey, Mike, thank you for the football practice coverages. You're welcome, Dane. Thanks to all you guys who've been watching. Like I said earlier, a lot of people have been loving our post-practice reports that we've been bringing. Yeah, Chris, Blake told me to tell you to walk closer to the lineman next time. Yeah, I kind of ventured off. No, last week I got in the end zone and I saw a shot I wanted with my camera, and I didn't realize that we couldn't shoot in the end zone. And, boy, I got fussed at. I didn't even get a chance to get a photo off. Just me lifting my camera up had one of them guys yelling at me. Yeah, that's a good question, Dwayne Official. Did Will Wade leave his program as bad as Coach O? That's hard to say because in basketball, you all you need is 6 or 7 guys brought into the program, and you can be in a decent spot. But I do think it's unfortunate, and I wonder how much of the, I'm not going to say scuttling of the ship or poisoning of the well, but I do think it's unfortunate that we've seen as many guys hit the portal. I don't know what kind of conversations each one of them individually had with Matt McMahon, about trying to convince him to stay. I don't know what Nickelberry and maybe, somebody, other assistants that are going elsewhere, what is being fed them behind the scenes, or what's being fed, to them from other coaches at other schools, unknowns. A lot of it's, personal relationships. And I don't know. And that was my point a few weeks ago when I got some blowback on Twitter. If you knew that the team was going to be prepared the way they were and they weren't ready for that NCAA first round game and they were going to look the way they were, then in hindsight, you would have said, look, NCAA, go ahead and apply that to it. However you're going to sanction us. We're not going to participate. Because, the argument against that was, well, the players earned it. Well, the players that earned it, weren't prepared by the adults that were put in place to prepare them. And then they turn around and hit the portal a week later, one by one. That's my issue. And there's some basketball people I've spoke with that immediately thought before LSU even played that game that they should have opted not to participate in the NCAA tournament. That was an embarrassing performance. Not throwing kids under the bus, but Nickelberry didn't prepare that team and had no clue what he was doing. I believe that. Are You Serious Sports? Our good buddy Blake Ruffino. I didn't say that. That's all right if you said it. Blake's done a good job with his Mike Jones segments. Mike Jones is got a relationship with Are You Serious Sports, and I've enjoyed those segments each week that he's had him. Let's scroll down. Let me see. Yeah, and here's the other thing for Coach McMahon. I don't think we know what the bottom is yet, and his contract reflects that. As soon as the NCAA gives him any hint of it, he gets another year added to his contract. So he is going to end up in the long run. It's easy to say right now he's going to have an 8-year deal. Glenn Thomas, does Keishon Butte ever play this year? Oh, sure he does. Unless there's an additional catastrophic event that appears in the future. Fred Wright, we really did look bad in the tournament, grade school. Mark J., I think the offensive line will be dominant in the run game this year. Not sure about pass blocking. I tell you what, man, there's a lot of people focused on offensive line, and I'm going to maintain this. And, of course, Louisiana's not doing Brad Davis and Brian Kelly favors. They're going to have to recruit well out of state. But I like what we're seeing from the interest from out-of-state recruits that have received offers from LSU, guys who have come in for unofficial visits, say they're going to come back for camp, say they're going to schedule official visits. I think they're going to have a top-flight offensive line class. And that goes to show you, what the perception is. Because a lot of what Ed Orgeron had to fight with was not only he had to deal with a lot of Les Miles' reputation. LSU had went so many years with not producing NFL quality offensive linemen, that bled over into the Orgeron era. Brian Kelly comes in known for offensive linemen. Brad Davis has relationships. He was on a staff at Arkansas that had a very good offensive lineman. The head coach was an offensive lineman. And he had relationships with guys in Missouri and all over that we've seen come in already. So I think there's a big reason to be excited about the future of LSU's offensive line. And I think they're going to have some pieces this year. We're going to see what Tyler Steen does, I think, in the next 24 hours. I don't know that if it's going to go to beyond tomorrow or Friday. Mo Funky Daniel, keep your eyes on Jamal Franklin, in-state 2023 offensive lineman. I've got a list of guys that I'm hoping to see real soon. We're not far away from the spring evaluation period, high school practices. There was some really good spring football scrimmages last year. I was able to see so many kids in the month of May last year, and I can't wait to hit the road. I keep hitting the LHSA's website because I'm ready to start charting out where I'm going to be going from week to week next season. As soon as they get those loaded up there, I'm ready to go. Football season cannot get here fast enough for me. All right. 1 second. Guys, I want to talk about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial. Of course, Tony is absolutely a big part of what we do here each and every week at TigerBait.com. So if you're thinking of buying a home or refinancing your current mortgage but haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine and someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs repeatedly. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. Tony offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer, ready to buy a new home, or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And please tell her that you heard about her right here on TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765, equal housing opportunity, 70876. And guys, you've seen it. The interest rates are going up. And if you've been thinking about refining or going out and buying a house, you better do it now, because no telling how many rate hikes we're bound to see by the end of the year. We're seeing it in all facets of everything. So give Tony today just to get a lay of the land. She is absolutely the one to call, and a dear friend and a big part of what we do here each and every week on TigerBait.com. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button, share. You help our algorithm when you do that. Also, YouTube, hit the subscription button and the notification bell. I'm looking at our analytics, and it's pinpoint where they tell you, like, how many of your viewers are subscribers, how many aren't, how they find you, Google, was our link dropped on somebody's message board? I mean, I can tell you there's a whole pie chart of all that stuff. But there's a lot of guys that are tuning in the show each and every week, but they're not hitting the subscription bell. And I think maybe it's because they actually some of those haven't actually registered for a YouTube account and actually made a favorites list. But that's something you ought to do, because with all the content we're loading into TigerBait right now on our YouTube channel, interviews, practice reports, if you hit that subscription button, the notification bell, you're going to get an alert to your cell phone every time we go live or we post a new video. And we're going to keep you on top of everything going on in LSU sports. And on the flip side of it, we want you to be a subscriber to our main site, TigerBait.com. Choose the annual package. You save, you're getting 3 months free when you choose the annual package versus going monthly. We want to have you. I'm on our message boards day and night answering questions. And we've got a lot of content coming your way, covering basketball, baseball, football recruiting. We've even done some women's basketball recruiting. If you saw, Mulkey got a big commitment on Friday, and we've had all that for you on TigerBait.com. Albacilla baseball team came alive with great pitching and hitting. Big series starting tomorrow night at the so back at the box tomorrow night. James Phillips is Baskerville in the Kelly doghouse. He is currently third string. I don't know if that's the case. I think I'm going to have a lot more to say after Saturday. I'm talking to other media guys, they were wondering what, because we're going to have access to the whole practice. What are they going to do? What are they going to be showing? Because you're going to have parents there, you're going to have recruits there. Almost envisioning some sort of, almost like the old Dale Brown purple and gold basketball games, but I don't see Brian Kelly wasting a practice that way. He's got so much he wants to get done. Dwayne Official, how can the football team not be punished? But it looks like the basketball program will. Well, the football team's already been punished. They self-imposed sanctions several years ago. Scholarships, bowl, and I think they had pretty much worked out a deal with the NCAA. And then the stuff with Will Wade came about, and they combined the two of them, and that's why you saw in the letter of allegations, institutional control brought up, and so that complicated everything. I just don't see anything happening when you look at how far the stuff goes back with the football program. And they've already self-imposed. I don't see anything additional having there, but I think the basketball team I think they're going to get the wood laid to them. I do. But what does that mean? What is it? 2 years postseason play? We've had some sources tell us that they expect 2 years of postseason play, But do they also take away scholarships? And how many might that be? You know, that's where Coach McMahon can really get hamstrung by the NCAA is the scholarship reductions. Maybe you can put on the court a very strong 5 or 6, but you're running out of gas late in games, and just because your team's worn out by the end of January. Yeah, just heard about the long snapper hitting the portal. Yeah, well, that was one of the first things that Coach Kelly and them did when they got to Baton Rouge, was go in the portal and get a deep snapper, because they knew that with Slade Roy, they knew that Skinner wasn't going to be academically eligible. And, you know, but I kept hoping the fact that he kept delaying getting in the portal, that maybe he was going to get his academic situation in order and stick around, but obviously he's not. Pin the third has looked good, says Chris English. Let me scroll up, guys. There's a lot of comments that I missed. Bear with me 1 second. Brian Kelly and Coach Davis about to make the LSU offensive line dominant. I think you might be onto something. I believe so. The pieces are falling together there for that to happen. Mark J says similarly. I think that the offensive line will be dominant in the run game this year. I think I hit that comment already, didn't I? All right, I scrolled up too far. Bear with me. You guys have comments coming at me fast and furious from both YouTube and Facebook. There you go. When is Rakea Jackson signing with LSU? Well, she committed to Tennessee. The Mississippi State transfer who visited last week, she actually committed to Tennessee the other day. Troy Bienemy. Any truth that Derek Williams favoring Alabama? LSU's going to fight Alabama for Derek Williams like a lot of schools, and I have Derek way up my list. You know, there's a lot of very good players in the state of Louisiana for 23, and Derek Williams from New Iberia Westgate, big safety, athletic. He's way up there. He can absolutely be talked about as one of your best 2 or 3 or 4 players overall in the state of Louisiana for this year. Chance Babb and LSU was brilliant giving up COVID Bowl in 2020. We should have skipped the Texas Bowl for any future infractions. Yeah, I think they wanted to, Chance, and the SEC told them no. I believe that. I was told that the SEC told them no. We allowed you to get out of it last year. We're not going to let you do it again this year. And I think they threatened them financially if they did. That's the word I got. All right, guys, I'm going to head out. Went a good 45 minutes. Go to TigerBait, subscribe, like, share, and we'll be back here Saturday, Buddy and I, with a post-practice report. Lots of video, interviews, Brian Kelly, players, the works. Got recruiting stuff coming your way, baseball coverage. And I've even got some more women's basketball recruiting news coming your way. Had something happen. Had something I was lining up tonight. Be on the lookout for that. All that and a lot more on TigerBait.com. And we'll see you again next time. Good night.